are live NBA rundown time, and we had to bring in the big guns today. That's right. It's not 38 special. It's Glaucoma live with us. Man, I'm so happy to have you back on the show. We got to do some playbacks together, but I think it's been a year since you've been here doing the rundown on the slate. How's everything been, Glock?
Yeah, it's been a while, feels like, for sure. It feels good to be on with you boys. I was super glad to meet y'all at the March Madness party, of course. I think even before that, I would consider you guys, the homies. So, just meeting in person was even better, getting to hang out with you guys. But yeah, I mean, it's been a good NBA season so far. Definitely been profitable. Been second places, first place finishes in single entry stuff. Kind of refined my process this year to kind of more so focus on that. And I think it's been doing good. I know some people run multiple lineups and whatnot, but I've actually been finding success with playing one and just honing in on one lineup has been treating me well so far this year. So, yeah, I'm excited to break this huge, massive slate down with you guys and discuss, I guess, the demise of my Dallas Mavericks. And before you guys we hopped on, it was the rise of the Sacramento Kings. So, I think you said, Spread, that you never imagined a world where the Kings would be ahead of the Mavs in the standings with Luka Doncic, but here we are.
Yeah, I mean, it's unbelievable. I mean, we got a lively chat today. Yeah, I just have to say, my guy, Ryan Cape, he reached out.
I haven't seen that name in the chat in forever.
Yeah, he reached out and I said, you got to check it out. We're still banging out the content, and I know he's doing some great content as well. So make sure you follow him on Twitter. It's the same name that you see in there. My guy, Matty Ice, is here. He's excited to see the big guns. Joseph, what is up? Richie Smalls, always reminding everyone to hit the like. Go Collect is here. It is on Winners Boulevard. Clyde is sitting there. We're all devastated over not hitting plus 8.5. So, of course, he's got the victory lap on us. Kyle having a bad day. He got a flat tire, so we got to wish him some luck. We got to give him some winners there. And, of course, we the people, man. I thought I was ready. I was thinking when that first half, I'm like, we the people is going to be victory lapping that money line, fantastic call. It just didn't come through for us. So
let's talk about that game real quick, Spread. Draymond was doing everything in his power to try and get it.
Punch that man square in the face.
Steve Kerr had to take him out of the game because he was just like, he was on the edge of getting ejected out. Like, I don't even know how he didn't get ejected. It was just, he was literally doing everything in his power to try and get ejected. And obviously it's Draymond, so they kind of give him a longer leash. But man,
they give him a way longer leash. And I like the.
If that was anybody else in the league, they'd have been out by the. I think they would have probably left on the foul that Ingram took, where he just football hit him into the stands.
Yeah, it was nuts. Like, watching it, it was really fun to watch, honestly, like from a viewer's perspective. But man, like, just like from a non-Warriors fan perspective, not seeing Draymond get ejected there was kind of ridiculous, because he was literally trying to get ejected, and then Steve Kerr was like, "Oh no, we got to take him out right now."
I think Steve Kerr was said, "Hey, if you guys are going to do me a favor, refs, I'm going to make your job a little easier, right?" I mean,
yeah.
All right, he just said, "I'm going to go ahead and take." Because did you see him? He kept messing with Herb Jones. And then Kerr's like, "Get out of there."
Did you see Herb? Herb was like, "You're getting subbed out." And then Draymond looked to where the sideline was. He looked to where the sideline was, and Draymond was pissed. He was getting subbed out, like, "Don't sub me out, don't sub me out." But then Steve Kerr, it was probably one of the smartest things Steve Kerr's ever done, honestly. I don't really think like he's like a great coach, in my opinion. I think he's always had the talent. I think he's had the talent, but I think it was one of the best things he's done that I've seen.
So here's where I go with that. I mean, everyone says he does have the talent. And yes, like prime Clay was sweet, right? But Draymond's only been a good shooter for 1 year. I mean, Steph, to me, is the top 10 player of all time. That's arguable, but I think everyone would agree top 20, right? So he does have that going for him, but he still has liabilities in his own right.
Yeah. I agree.
I don't know. I think that Kerr gets a little bit underrated to try and manage those egos and those personalities.
I agree. I think that takes some talent to a degree. It was kind of like when LeBron joined up in Miami. You kind of like, okay, if Spoelstra can't win it with these guys, like, he's not a very good coach. So it definitely takes some talent to, rally the ship and, get that talent to mesh together. But yeah, I think he's had a lot of talent for sure. And, I'm not going to let that really boost him up in my rankings, at least.
What are your thoughts of Boston's coach?
Oh, here we go.
Joe Mazzulla, not a fan.
There we go.
You guys are hand in hand.
Somebody on my side here.
Yeah, not a fan for sure. Actually liked Udoka for the most part until he got a little too horny, I guess. But but yeah, I'm not really a Joe fan. He did start off strong. Like he did look really good, right, for a while.
He pulled the Luke Walton. He had the great roster and just kind of stood there and was like, "All right, guys, go play basketball."
Yeah, I mean, you can only do that for so long, right? Especially, I guess we'll really see in the playoffs. Like, that I think that'll get really exposed where the X's and O's come out in the game planning. So we'll see. I mean, I think this playoffs is going to be probably one of the best in a while. I think the parity is quite there. I think you have your Giants in the East, but I think the West is wide open for the most part. And yeah, we'll see who comes out on top. It should be an amazing playoffs, and can't wait.
I'm still planting my flag spread. If we get the matchup 2 versus 7, Celtics versus the Heat, and you give me a good enough price, I'm on the Heat.
Ooh, spicy.
Give me the zombie Heat that just roll into Boston and just play a tough series, and somehow they win it.
I don't know if you're going to get it, though. I think the Heat are going to end up
they get the discount come playoff time. They'll be like plus 250 in that series is my guess. You give me like 4-1, I'm all over them.
Yeah, I can't wait to see that.
Our guy Joey works in the chat with baseball on deck tomorrow. Can't wait for those winners.
He's already put some bets up, so
I know. I already
bet him. Joey work. Yeah, runpurebets.com, guys. Head on over. We'll all give our promo codes out, but if you're in a hurry, Spread 15 is going to get you 15% off. Get those Joey winners. He's also been doing division previews with our guy Draft Cheat. So if you're a big baseball guy, make sure you check those out. If you're like me, just bet the plays. Don't watch the games. Don't even check the scoreboard and just have more money in your account.
That's
right?
sharp. So that's sharp.
There's two different ways you can approach it. So we're talking about coaches clock. I hope you got some time, right? We like to go off the beaten path on this show.
Yeah.
What do you think of your coach, Jason Kidd in Dallas?
Oh man, last year I was loving it, right? And then I was feeling good, and then like second year Kidd is a huge meme. It feels like he always has a good first year with the squads he's with, and then the second year it's like just goes straight down. I think the same thing happened in Brooklyn, same thing happened in Milwaukee, where it feels like he lost. Like he has like a really laid back coaching style where it's like, you figure it out. He doesn't call much timeouts. Polar opposite of Rick Carlisle, which he was the previous coach, and he gets crap for it because it's like the other team goes on a 10-0, 15-0 run, he won't call it out, and then in the post game he's like, I want my guys to figure it out, and at a certain point you can do that. I think when you have a team full of veterans, but you have to take some control of the game, and I don't know. After they lost to the Hornets twice, it felt like he lost the locker room like completely because they started off slow both games. After the first game, you're like, okay, we're not starting slow against a bad team again. Same thing happens in the second game. And then, after that game, I was just on full tilt, put all my season tickets on for sale. I was like, we're not making the playoffs. We're freaking done. I'm not watching this team anymore. And then what do you know? I turn on the TV when we play the Pacers, and then we somehow blow them out.
Bro, that's the Pacers, though.
I mean, it's the Hornets. Like, we should have beat the Hornets.
It was Rick Carlisle coaching against Luka and those guys. They were coming to beat him, especially after the Pacers beat them earlier in the year.
Yeah. The season series ended up 1-1, and yeah, we got lucky that Miles Turner and Tyrese Halliburton were out. But it's like, man, like we should have went 3-0 in this road stretch. We'd probably be like the 6th or 7th seed right now if we did, and those are two costly losses. We're going to talk about it later, but we're playing Philly tonight. I'm not really a Jason Kidd guy, but the one thing that is good about him is like it feels like he has Kyrie Irving's respect. Obviously that can change in a flick of a switch, but I don't know, like I consider it a miracle to re-sign Kyrie. I think he's probably gone after this year. And if that's the case, then I think Kidd will be the first to go. And then, they'll bring in someone that Luka admires, I guess, and tries to, stay on his good side. And then we'll bring in some pieces with our max cap space and go from there.
I think they do everything to just re-sign Kyrie.
Yeah.
I think they're kind of in that spot where it's like we traded for him. We kind of, this is supposed to be our guy. Like we got to just re-sign him. We can't just let the asset walk.
I agree. And
like
I know
2029 pick. Like still, Tyler and I were talking about, our dollar might not be worth anything by 2029. Like that's way far in the future.
But how do you sell that to Luka. It's like, all right, we traded a couple of your guys. We gave up a pick to bring you in an all-star. It didn't work. We're going to let the all-star walk night. Now we're just going to try and figure it out again.
Yeah. In an ideal world, they're going to try and re-sign him. And honestly, like it would shock me if Kyrie resigned, but in a way, Kyrie's always the contrarian and he always does what you don't think. And maybe being in a low key place like Dallas. I mean, he said all the right things since he's come here. He had, all the reports are like, oh, they can't mesh, like they hate each other. But everything I've heard, all the press conferences Kyrie's been a part of, all his quotes, like they've been positive. And yeah, maybe like when everyone thinks he's going to leave Dallas and jet for another city, he does the contrarian thing and he resigns. He's like, this is the worst team I've probably been a part of in my career, apart from the early Cleveland days. But I'm going to resign. I like the vibe here, despite how we're losing. And yeah, maybe he'll go against the grain in that way. But yeah, I definitely think they're going to do everything they can to try and resign him. And then maybe they're going to have to add pieces. It's clear, like add some 3-and-D guys, maybe a big that can actually defend. That's the ideal summer for me. But obviously I lean that won't happen. And it's going to be a full blow up with where Kid probably gets fired based on how the season ends. And then Lucas stays. And then, they're just going to have a lot of cap space to try and re-sign whatever free agents are available.
On the bright side, you got a guy owning the team like Cuban that's always in on these. He's aggressive with the free agent moves and everything else. So like your team will spend money to try and get these guys around them guys.
Yeah, that's why people are like, oh, the Kyrie trade was so stupid. But it's like, I mean, were we really going to go anywhere with Spencer Dinwiddie and Dorian Finney-Smith?
No.
Like those guys aren't replaceable.
Yeah, sure, like Mavs maybe would be a 5th or 6th seed right now with some stability, but it's like, okay, like is the ceiling high enough to where you can win a championship with those guys? Like, I don't think so. So it's like taking a swing and trading for Kyrie was a plus. Like, obviously, it's not working out right now, but we get to see what it looks like, to pair Luka with a player like Kyrie, right? And so, in the future, like if there's another player down the line that plays like Kyrie and, we're considering him or they want to get traded, like, we know what it looks like. It's like maybe it's not the best fit. So maybe we need to go out and, pick up a dominant center. I know there's not many of those anymore, but maybe a dominant center will work better with Luka. Maybe a guy that's a 3-and-D guy that's maybe more so like Bradley Beal is a better fit. We're just checking the boxes to see what actually fits well with Luka. And, right now, obviously the Kyrie thing doesn't look the best on paper for sure, but it's something that we tried. And, I'm glad that the Mavs have the balls to take that swing for the fences. That's kind of my point of view.
I think you can pretty much lock it in. He's in a Mavericks jersey after this year.
Kyrie?
Yeah, I'm that confident in it because I don't think everyone's saying the Lakers in the chat. The Lakers have already came out and said they love what D'Angelo Russell's shown them. They can keep him
where the Lakers aren't going to look into him.
Yeah, they love Russell. They think he's a lot cheaper of an asset too, which he is. You could probably convince Russell to take like a 2-year and a player option or a team option to where Kyrie wants the max. You save a lot of money there too. So I see the Lakers going that route. The one team I think can swoop in and take him from you is if Phoenix falls short of the championship and Chris Paul's the main reason why. You could just tell he's too old. KD calls up his old buddy and is like, hey, we can kick this guy out and bring you in, and it's me, you, and Booker, and we'll just go with that.
Yeah, it's I like that for sure. Like I definitely think that's in the cards, and I could see it happening for sure. Who knows what's gonna happen? Like it's gonna be wild off season. Like, and the playoffs is just gonna exacerbate that where whoever gets bounced early and Kyrie's a pending free agent. Like if the Lakers don't make the playoffs, then maybe that changes their views on, D'Lo and how they want to move forward. So who knows? I'm excited for it. And, I think all three of us are because NBA is just like a 24/7 sport all throughout the year. Like there's always news happening and there's never days where the NBA goes without being dramatic.
I also think you're going to be Kyrie by himself in the next 3 years. Like Luka demands, Luka demands his way out because it doesn't work in the long run. It's like I'm stuck with this guy now, and he ends up in Denver, and all those Denver pieces end up in Dallas with Kyrie.
Well, if that happens, I'm gonna call up Big T and tell him to hit me up with a Denver jersey. So I'll be all aboard that trade.
He's like, I'll be a Nuggets fan now.
Yeah, I'd have to be. I mean, there's just certain guys that like at the end of Dirk's career, like there was always rumors of him leaving to another team where it was like, okay, Cuban wasn't doing enough to try and keep him. So if he were to move elsewhere, I'm cool with it. I'd be a fan. Obviously, I'd still be a Mavs fan, but I'm gonna be a fan wherever he goes. And Luka's only been here not even like 5-6 years. So, but still, even then, like he's done so much, like for me, where it's like I'd just be a fan wherever he goes. Like there's just no changing that.
All right, one more general question, and then I want to break down the slate. But this is something I was thinking about last night, so I want to get your thoughts on it. On the East, the play-in's a joke. The teams are just – I know Tyler thinks the Heat can beat the Celtics. But in my mind, it's just 4 teams that are fighting to just get stomped in the first round, right? They're all going to be 4-0s, 4-1s. In the West, and I think this will completely change the landscape of the NBA – these teams can make the NBA Finals. So if I were to say, what are the odds that a play-in team wins the West and makes the NBA Finals, what would you put it at, Tyler? And then I'll go ahead and ask you, Glock.
So a West play-in team makes the finals?
Yeah, I mean, you got the Lakers
and the Pelicans.
The Mavericks.
I think that's your only 2, and then maybe if Golden State falls down into those rankings.
Yeah.
I don't think Dallas is winning a championship with the roster they have. Sorry, Glock, but they just can't defend. So if we took us 3, Joey Work and Robert from the chat, I'm pretty sure we could score 98 points on them. So they ain't winning nothing. The Pelicans and the Lakers are the only ones that have a chance. And that's if the Lakers put it together and if Zion shows back up for the Pelicans. So 2 big things you need to happen there, but I think there's a chance it could happen.
Like, what would you put it at? Plus 500, plus 1,000?
Plus 1,000.
What do you think, Glock?
I think it's the gauntlet they would have to run. Like a Lakers
team. Is it really a gauntlet, though?
A Lakers
the Nuggets
team
have never done anything.
A Lakers team right now would have to, because they can only get to the 8 seed looking at these standings.
Yeah.
So they play Denver round 1.
Okay.
They get through Denver. Okay, so let's say they get through Denver in 6 games.
Okay.
Phoenix is going to be waiting for them. That's a 7-game slugfest. And then you're probably waiting on the Grizzlies, who are a tough matchup in the Western Conference Finals. Even if they got all the way to the finals, they are going to be beat to shit by the time they get there.
I'm just saying, if a play-in team makes the NBA Finals, it will completely change the landscape of how we view the NBA.
Oh, that would.
I mean, the regular season would become even more meaningless.
That would also be the one of their big selling points on why they would never get rid of it. But it would also be hilarious to watch a LeBron James team make the finals through the play-in when he was one of the guys.
You mean disgusting?
No,
you mean
it would.
Vomit-inducing.
Remember, he's one of the guys that was fully against this play.
Yeah,
that is true. He would backtrack on that so fast.
Oh yeah, especially if he was a 9 or a 10 seed and fought his way in and then won it all. Like, I love this thing now.
Yeah.
Glock, what would you say the chances are? And I mean, I know Tyler doesn't like your Dallas Mavericks, but I mean, let's just say Luka and Kyrie get hot at the same time.
Yeah, it could happen.
It's not crazy, especially against. Like the Grizzlies, the Kings.
Like, yeah, I don't
Nuggets,
think like
they're all vulnerable.
Yeah, for sure. It's like, and I don't care what anyone says. Like, I don't think you want to, like, your number 1 pick would not be going up against Luka and Kyrie in a playoff series. I don't think.
Luka could win the series by himself.
Yeah, exactly. And so, yeah, I mean, I think it really depends who's in the play-ins. I think, like, if Golden State drops into it somehow, like, your odds increase substantially. Those are guys, like, even though they've sucked on the road, like, those guys are guys I'm never going to count out in the playoffs. Like, I'm interested to see what their odds are, like, going into the playoffs once it all wraps up. But they're a very interesting team always, just because they have that championship blood in them and experience. Timberwolves, I don't know. They've looked good as of late with Cat coming back. I'm still not a believer in that in the playoffs, especially with Rudy Gobert. But yeah, I think I agree with Tyler. I think the Warriors, if they make the play-ins, the Pelicans, obviously they need Zion for sure. After last night's loss, I'm paying pretty close attention to those standings right there in the play-ins just to see how the teams are going to ping pong, especially with the Mavs. And these are their last 6 games, the Pelicans. Like, they could legit lose out. They've got Denver, they've got the Clippers, they've got Sacramento, they've got Memphis, they've got New York Knicks, and Minnesota Timberwolves. Those are their last 6 games to finish the year. they could legit go 0-6 to finish the year. Like, do you guys like there's not really a free win in there, which is, right now they're 39-38. They could be 38-44 and not make the playoffs. So that was pretty scary looking at their schedule. But yeah, obviously fully healthy Lakers. We'll see what they do tonight against Chicago. I'm gonna have my popcorn ready for that. Pat Bev was like, I'm gonna bump him out of the playoffs. He already got the first win, so let's even get the second win and then hit LeBron with the too small again. That's kind of what I'm looking
Unbelievable, huh?
I love it. I love that.
That guy is a nut.
I love that stuff. Like, that's the stuff you watch the NBA for. All that drama, the little antics, and we're gonna get a taste of that tonight. And when the Lakers, they're in Chicago this time. So yeah, I think that's how I would rank it. Golden State, and then I would probably put the Pelicans too if Zion's healthy. But man, that end of season schedule, they're gonna have to dig deep and get some wins somehow, because they're playing 6 teams that are also fighting for the playoffs and are top seeds. So Warriors, I think if they make the play-ins, I think it becomes like plus 500. But if not, I think the plus 1,000 makes a lot of sense with what Tyler was saying. And yeah, I would give my Mavs a better chance than OKC and Minnesota. I think if they made the play-ins, obviously, just with the caliber of Luka and Kyrie. But I'd have to rank the Pelicans and the Lakers fully healthy ahead of them if I had to pick.
All right. Tyler, any more general questions for Glock before we dive into today's slate?
No, I think that's pretty much it. We can jump in.
Spread, I got one for you before we move on.
Oh, let's do it.
Are your Kings going to finally light the beam? I think it's been and clinch a spot, because I think it's been like 2 games where they've lost, right? Or something like that. Or 1 game where they could have clinched it. Kind of
we could have clinched it, but we fell to the Minnesota Timberwolves at home.
If they don't clinch it tonight, something's wrong.
Yeah, I mean, we're playing a G League team tonight. So, yes, we will light the beam tonight. I'm going out there. Supposedly, that's the new Sky pick that everybody's requesting.
Oh, man, that's going to beat all the Sky picks, Fred. If you get that beam, yeah.
So, I'll be looking forward to that. And hopefully we don't play in the first round. I mean, how terrible would it be for us to have one of our best seasons? So, obviously, losing to the Lakers is the worst-case scenario in my life, right? But I think the second worst is to play the Mavericks and lose to the guy that we passed on. That was the most obvious pick. The reason you have a Euro GM is because supposedly you should respect European players. But instead, we draft the biggest bum, Marvin Bagley, who can't even start on the Detroit Pistons, who are the worst team in the – oh, my gosh. Yeah, so –
You're going to have a worse nightmare spread. You're going to play your other favorite team in the first round. The one with
I wouldn't mind losing to them. Like, you're losing to a dynasty.
I think your best case scenario is Minnesota slides up to the 6. I know they've given you problems this season, but I think in the playoffs, where Cat usually goes into shambles and they can kind of play Gobert off the floor is where they would win.
Hey, did you see the highlight of when Gobert hits like a turnaround jumper on us?
Yeah,
and like the whole bench
the bench is just, they just throw their towels. It's like, what do you do at that point?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't do anything about that.
All right, let's dive right into another exciting slate of this season is way too long NBA basketball, right? But we have degenerate gamblers that need their fix. The Milwaukee Bucks are minus 11.5. They're in Indiana taking on the Pacers. Total 237. Tyler, once again, I've been saying this a lot over the last couple weeks. This game sucks. Sucks.
You add in the other element that Milwaukee has Boston on deck tomorrow night, and it just makes it even worse because in this spot, it seems like the Bucks are in a spot. You just look back, they lost the last matchup against the Pacers. Lopez didn't play in that game. So without Lopez, you weren't able to do much on defense. They had 4 guys score 20-plus points in that game for the Pacers. They absolutely torched them from the field, 56% from the field, 48% from 3. With Lopez back, I highly doubt you get all that, and you had Giannis only playing 27 minutes. My worry here, though, is the Boston factor. So I think Milwaukee picks up the win, but I don't want to lay 11.5 points here. So definitely come in on some performance doubles. And I'll probably come in on him through Brook Lopez or some of the role players. Like his 8+ rebounds in one is plus 140. He could easily smash that. And our guy, We the People, was all over that in their last game. And I believe he went for 12 rebounds. So love that one and love his points, 15+, and they win here.
Glock, talk to me about this Milwaukee game. What are you expecting here? And I know I say this game sucks, but I'm talking from a gambling perspective. Can't overlook it from a DFS perspective, right? Because when Halliburton and Hield sit, right, it's great value, right? It's like going to the dollar store, right? Although nothing's a dollar anymore, but we'll talk about that later. Talk to me about the Indiana Pacers.
Yeah, so obviously you mentioned it, Halliburton out, Hield out, and then we have a Miles Turner Q tag as well. I think like a week before this week, it was kind of in question whether or not the Pacers were actually tanking or not. It's clear now that they are. And so, you know, with that in mind, obviously if a guy like Miles Turner is out, they played my Mavs last time, and they started Jalen Smith at the 5, 5K on DraftKings. I think he'll be a totally fine play. And then, you know, his backup, Isaiah Jackson, 4.5K. If Miles Turner misses, you know, I played both of those guys together last slate, and it worked out for the most part. But I think you go right back to it tonight. I think they do have a price bump. But if you notice, like Indy, like they're going to play their guys now. They're full developmental mode. They're young guys at least. And one thing that was really interesting to me last game, like, you know, even though they were down 30, Andrew Nembhard closed the game, played 36 minutes. Benedict Mathurin started and closed the game, played 38 minutes. Isaiah Jackson closed the game. TJ McConnell closed the game, which was super surprising to me. And then the last guy, O'Shea Brissett, he doesn't start, but he closed. So I think the guys that are mainly in focus for me are the young guys. Benedict Mathurin, like he's going to get full run most likely. I wouldn't think he gets pulled, even no matter what the score is. They just want to let him develop and see how he goes. So obviously, let's see his tag, 5.6K, 8% owned. I feel like he could smash, like no matter what the script is. You mentioned it. The Bucks are favored by 11, so I think he's a totally fine play. Andrew Nembhard as well, obviously, has a very high ceiling as we've seen in the past. And then, yeah, I think I'd want to focus on one of the bigs if Turner's out. Isaiah Jackson obviously is cheaper, and if he starts would be my preference. But if Jalen Smith starts, you know, 5K, he's been a historically high fantasy point per minute producer, so wouldn't mind that at all. And yeah, I mean, I think most of my focus here would be on the Indiana side. Like you guys mentioned, the Bucks are playing tomorrow, and so I would just keep in mind like that Giannis probable tag. That probable tag is like it leans closer to questionable in my opinion.
I was going to say that
than it does actually being available. Yeah. So that's something to keep in mind, and obviously we'll have that news before lock, which is nice. So we'll adjust accordingly if Giannis is in or out. But if Giannis is in, it's pretty simple. I think he's my main priority. Even despite the spread, like he could just crush in that short time. And then if he's out, you know, you're going to go to guys like Bobby Portis. Brooke Lopez is always under-owned. Like everyone just plays Bobby Portis when Giannis is out. But Lopez just always has been crushing this year at like half or even 25% of the ownership. So, yeah, just wait on the Giannis news here. And then obviously in the Miles Turner Q tag will also impact some of your DFS plays.
All right. That's
if Giannis puts it on the Celtics tomorrow, say like drops like 40 on them, does he jump the two big men in the MVP race?
Man, I don't know. Like
it's the more you look at the odds, like he's the guy he's went from 5-1 down to 4-1. Now he's rated like 3.5-1. These two are at plus 125 apiece. It's like he's lurking right there waiting to take it.
Especially if like Embiid's questionable, right? And they kind of have that. It feels like they have that seed locked up. Embiid's kind of talked about like, you know, having some rest here and there. Like, what if he sits tonight, like against the Mavs? Like, they think they could just beat him without him anyways. He sits tonight, and then Giannis goes out tomorrow and smashes. I mean, I could see it totally happening for sure.
All right, that's a great breakdown by my guy Glaucoma. Guys, we're here Monday through Friday, giving you the NBA winners. Give us that thumbs up. Hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel. Let's continue. Tyler, this game just went off my board.
Kyle Lowry got rolled out, and Jimmy Butler got ruled probable.
It goes off the board when a bench player, Kyle Lowry, gets ruled out. That's wild.
They're real careful here.
They are, yeah.
I on Bookmaker, they're offshore. They're real good about like not limiting and like kicking you off like Bovada did to me. So
we got more news coming in. Gabe Vincent just got ruled questionable. This will probably just keep trickling in as we break down this game.
Okay. All right. Do we want to skip it then and come back?
Oh, yeah. If you want to do the other 7:30 game, we can come back to this one. We can do the other two real quick and then come back to this one.
All right. We got our Dallas insider here. The Mavericks are +4. They're in Philadelphia. They're taking on the 76ers. Total's 232. You already alluded to it, Glock. Embiid might sit. Tyler and I had problems kind of projecting this game because, I mean, it's big news we're waiting on, right? Embiid and Harden, two of the best players in the NBA, might not play. Talk to me about the scenarios and what you're expecting tonight. And I don't know. Give me an idea. Let's just say, to me, this line says that they expect them to play. If they do play, how do you think the Mavericks can cover +4? What do you think?
I think they could. Like, it's weird. Like, they've been losing the bad teams, but the teams where they actually are going against good competition, with the Lakers, and then they actually did beat Philly the last time they came into Dallas. Luka and Kyrie combined for
that was the 40.
Yeah.
The only game where they look like what we had hoped from this.
Yeah, and I think that's one of Ben Luka's problems early on in his career. Like, he doesn't really take the bad teams seriously. Like, it takes some time to develop, I guess, into a young player, like taking care of business and beating the bad teams. But these teams where they are facing superior competition, it does feel like they get up for. And like from a DFS perspective, it kind of makes it easy. Like, let's say, obviously, if Embiid and Harden are in, I prefer Embiid, Bigs versus Dallas, like, MVP race, all the narratives with that. Sad against Jokic last slate. And, I think this game's on ESPN. Yeah, it's on ESPN. So national TV. I would be shocked to see these guys sit. But then again, you never know. Like, I was shocked that Harden sat last game. When Embiid sat, I would have thought at least one of those guys would have played. So the fact that both of them sat makes me think like, maybe they just did it to just get ready for this national TV game. That's kind of what I would lean. So obviously, if both guys are in, I'm going to lean hard. I'm going to lean Embiid over Harden always. And just looking at the DraftKings prices, it looks like they actually prepared. Like, Tyrese Maxey is 8.9K. So that's $700 less than Harden. So they definitely prepared for this. It feels like, when it comes to a pricing aspect. So yeah, I think this game is pretty easy, honestly, to break down. Like, just the studs on each side with a clear emphasis on like the number one option. So like Joel Embiid from Philly, and then Luka Doncic, if you have the salary, obviously, on the Dallas side. I think, I'm not going to take the second.
Do you think we're going to have the value to get there today?
Looking at it right now, I don't think so.
Did they jack? I didn't look at prices. Did they jack up like these Jazz and these Spurs players? So
they jacked up prices for sure. Like Emmanuel Quickly is almost more expensive than Jalen Brunson. So it's like they're preparing for it. Like, Keon Johnson's 5K coming off the bench. So your top 3 highest owned players are Keon Johnson, he's 5K, Jordan Nwora, 5.2K, Nasir Little, 5.1K, and I think Trendon Watford is questionable, so it's not even like for sure that Nasir Little is a good play yet. So yeah, there's not a 3K guy that I'm seeing right now that's super smash. So yeah, I don't even know if we'll have the value to kind of stack up what we said, like if you wanted to Embiid Luka stack,
All right, and of course, as you're trying to navigate all this news, your best friend is going to be runpuresports.com. Grab that membership. You can get the core plays, the up to lock show, the heat map, and of course the player pools to help you decide whether you want to go stars and scrubs, or from what I'm hearing, Glock, might be a balance build kind of day, which is always fun because I feel like there's more options, right? Because sometimes it just feels like when you go stars and scrubs, the value is obvious. You just got to pick your spend ups right. But do multiple lineups and just grab every stud with the value, right? Balance build, I feel you get a lot more variety, and it can definitely be fun. So runpuresports.com, going to be your best friend. Tyler, how do we approach this game from a betting perspective? Let's just assume they both play for the sake of it, and if they don't, check the NBA playbook and we'll update it from there. But if they both play, do you think the Mavericks have a chance here at +4?
No, I think if they're both in, we smash the 76ers right here, especially after The one game this duo was able to put together where they both scored 40 points just so happened to come against this Philly team. It ended a Philly win streak too. They went on another one after that. They lost the game. They're going to roll in their first game back at home after a road trip too. The Philly's going to be going crazy. There's performance doubles listed for both of these guys, so I do think they both play. Okay. The moment I see the news that they both participated in shoot-around, I'm betting Philly, and I'm betting the under because I think they slow down the pace with those two back on the floor. Okay. That 230 is way too high in a matchup where I think all these stars are on the floor. I don't think you're getting the 80-plus combined out of the two guys on Dallas again. And we know Luka's going to slow the pace down and Embiid's going to want to play out of the post. So give me that under 230 and Philly -4 as long as those guys are in. If they're out, I want nothing to do with this game.
All right, let's go to another completely trash game. This game is worse than Mikey's diet. The Brooklyn Nets are -11. They're hosting the Houston Rockets. The total is 228.5. Of course, Glock's going to have some DFS plays from this. But from a betting perspective, Tyler, I kind of want nothing to do with this game from the side and total. I guess we can look for performance doubles, but even the Rockets rotations been tough for me to hold down as of late. What do you think here with the Rockets catching double digits in Brooklyn?
I think this is an easy one, spread. I think this is one where we get in on Brooklyn. I think that -11, last time they played, they beat them 118-96, which was a pretty nice beating. The Nets need to hold on to that 6th seed if they want to stay out of the play-in. So you need these wins over these teams like this. They match up very well defensively. All the wing defenders they have against these Houston guards, they're going to lock these guys down. Claxton's more aggressive than Sengun. He's going to be able to get all the boards he wants. So I'm all over Brooklyn here. Houston also owns all of Brooklyn's picks. So it's like they're going to come out, they're going to punch him in the mouth, and they're just going to win this game by about 15. I like Brooklyn here. I like the performance doubles through Dinwiddie and Bridges. You look at their games last time. Dinwiddie went for 23 points. He shot 8 for 16, 3 for 7 from 3. There's a performance double, 20-plus and win at +135. I don't mind that at all. And I don't mind the 25-plus on Bridges, and they win. He scored 30 in their last game out, and he shot 9 for 20 in that game. Imagine if he shot a good percentage in that game. He would have put up a crazy number.
All right, Glock. So We the People likes this game. Maybe I'm just being in a hater mode right now. I'm still pissed that the Pelicans melted down last night. Still pissed that the Grizzlies didn't cover. So Glock, bring some positivity here and tell me why I should care that the Nets are taking on the Rockets.
Yeah, so I think you mentioned it before you kind of dove into this game. Like the mid-range could win out here, right? And this game is full of the mid-range plays for sure. Spencer Dinwiddie, obviously we always like to attack Houston with drive heavy slashing guards. 7.6K. He's projecting for about like 20% ownership, but Houston doesn't play a lick of defense, and a lot of points should be scored, from at least from the net side here. So Spencer Dinwiddie, 7.6K, point guard eligible. You have Mikal Bridges, shooting guard eligible, same price, 7.6K. And then Nick Claxton, like you guys mentioned, We the People likes the Clax double-double. It really feels like they're trying to play Clax Daddy a lot nowadays. 30-plus minutes.
Wait.
That's the first time I've heard that nickname.
You guys have never heard of Clax Daddy?
No.
I feel in the Discord we always call him Clax Daddy. So. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Give us the thumbs up for that, guys. I mean, if you haven't hit the thumbs up yet, you got to go over there and hit it now.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, those right there, 3 clear mid-range plays that you can just jam into your builds. Spencer Dinwiddie, Mikal Bridges, Nick Claxton. This Houston team, like I mentioned, doesn't play any defense. I'm even seeing like Royce O'Neal. Looks like he's coming back from injury. 4.6K. He's off the bench. He's projecting like 15% own, which is pretty surprising to me. But like I said earlier, there's the value plays are kind of in that 4.5K to 5K range. So he fits the mold against a crappy Houston team. And yeah, I don't think I'll have much interest personally on the Houston side here. There was quotes from Silas saying that after one of their losses, he like broke down in tears and felt like he lost the locker room, which is pretty concerning to me. Especially, I think he's good.
Windhorse retracted that.
Oh, he retracted that? Okay.
Did you see Josh Christopher walking off the floor, mocking him, like clapping the other night?
I'm not surprised.
Yeah, that's an AAU team he's trying to coach down there.
Yeah, for sure. So, Yeah, and so for a defense aspect, I don't think I'll really like prioritize any Houston guys. Obviously, I do love a guy like Sengun. I believe in his talent, but you know, they just don't seem committed to be playing these guys like in Indiana, like we mentioned previously. So I'll focus more so on the net side here with the mid-range guys, Dinwiddie, Bridges, Claxton being my favorites.
All right. Anything more on this game, Tyler, before we move on?
No, I just think this is a nice spot to back the Nets. I'm just going to say it again, just because he touched on it. Silas lost the locker room. You just look at their recent losses. They lost 115 to 137 to the Knicks. Cleveland put it on them 108 to 91. Memphis beat them 151 to 114. Golden State beat them 121 to 108. The Pelicans beat them by 10. The one game they were able to keep close was that Memphis game in Jaw's first game back. They lost that game by 5. I don't think this team is going to show much more of a fight the rest of the year. So in a spot like this with the defenders on Brooklyn, I think it's easy at -11.
All right. Tyler likes him. All right. So let's circle back to that Heat game. The line reopened up at +4.5 with a total 223.5. Tyler, what injury news have we got from there? And what are you feeling about your New York Knicks? Only have one favorite team. How lame is that? Your New York Knicks taking on the Miami Heat tonight.
Yeah, I think I'm going to stay away from this game for the most part, just because it's one of them spots. Every time we run number spread, we want to take the Knicks in this spot. And Miami always tends to play them very tough. Miami's on a back-to-back, though. They did play last night. They got beat up by the Raptors. So they do got to come down from Toronto to play in New York. It's not the farthest travel, but you do got to cross the border, deal with all that. So that might have took a little bit of a toll on them. Jimmy Butler didn't play, though, so he's going to be fresh in Madison Square Garden tonight. He's going to put it on the Knicks. I love his props, like our guy We the People said in the chat earlier. So love his props here. As for the side and the total, I'm staying away from this game.
All right. What do you think here on this game, Glock? Obviously, news coming in. Maybe we will get some value after all.
Maybe. I mean, they did rule out Kyle Lowry already. And then Gabe Vincent is questionable. So, like, obviously, he was questionable yesterday. So people were kind of already thinking of the alternatives. Like, okay, we're going to lock Kyle Lowry if Gabe sits. So, Gabe sitting would be a big surprise because, like, you kind of, like, who the heck would play point guard for them, really? I mean, you could see Jimmy. You could see Victor Oladipo maybe, like, 3.8K. I think if Victor sits and Victor gets a start, I know Oladipo started yesterday and was pretty disappointing, but that's just another usage guy that goes away. Obviously, Tyler Hero would assume some ball handling responsibilities. But yeah, I mean, I think like this game also has a lot of mid-range plays that I think you can get into. Jalen Brunson Q tag, like I mentioned earlier, they already elevated Quickly's tag. Like I'm mistaken it. Emmanuel Quickly 7.8K and Jalen Brunson 7.5K. so you have a guy that's coming off the bench that is more expensive than Jalen Brunson. So I love Jalen Brunson if he's able to go. It is against a tough Miami Heat team, but that 7.5K price tag, like anytime Jalen Brunson plays, like he's been smashing it. So I like Jalen Brunson, obviously. If he plays, Emmanuel Quickly, I think is still in play if Brunson is out. Obviously, definitely not in play if Brunson's in. And then guys like Julius Randle, RJ Barrett, I think those guys are kind of more like filler plays for me. But I do like them more if Brunson sits, obviously. And then, yeah, on the Miami side, really need to keep an eye on that Gabe Vincent news. Tyler Hero is only 6.5K. I played him last night and he smashed. Really cheap tag to fit your mid-range build, especially if Gabe Vincent's out. I really think he'll be the primary ball handler, mixed in with some Jimmy Butler. So Tyler Hero, Jimmy Butler, I think is fine. I don't love it. I think he had a massive game against the Knicks last time they played. But I'm not going to force it in. I think more so I'm leaning on the guards here. Tyler Hero and Jalen Brunson would be my favorites from each side.
Tyler, what do you think of a Hero over 19.5 points prop?
I don't hate that at all. I think you can go over that. I don't mind his threes either. Or even what's his points plus assists sitting at if you got that on your book? It's just like Locke said, he's going to have to handle the ball a bit more.
I have to make that on Bet Online. They just give you points, rebounds, and assists. They don't give you points.
What's that one? Because he does tend to rebound the ball pretty well too.
His PRA. Let me pull it up right now.
If it's below 30, I kind of like it.
And my guess is it will be Heat, Knicks, Tyler Hero. I got to switch this up. Why am I scrolling so much? 28.5.
Yeah, I like the over there.
And you like that better than just the over 19.5 points?
I mean, if you wanted to bet that, I think you could go over that because I could definitely see a stat line tonight of, say, 23, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists. But it could also be 19 points, 6 rebounds, and 4 assists. So it's all how you want to play it.
All right. Well, there we have it. I just bet it. Let's do it. Right, Tyler? I mean, it can't get any worse than the way we've been running lately. I still can't believe we did.
Block's here to fix the mojo.
I know. It's so awesome. It's so awesome. We have a Mavericks fan. We don't have a Lakers fan here. Just needling me here anymore. Being more. Oh, my gosh. All right. The Los Angeles Clippers are +4. They're in Memphis. They're taking on John Morant and the Memphis Grizzlies. Total 233. Tyler, you know, at one point last night, the Grizzlies were had like 81-56.
Yep.
And we didn't cover the game.
Nope.
So pissed. Do we go back to this team tonight when they're taking on a much better team, the Los Angeles Clippers?
I think they win the game, but it's a shorter spread, so I don't mind getting back in on them. They played so much better at home, and Jaw's going to play tonight, so that's another big thing here. Guards have smashed his Clippers matchup. He's going to have his way here. He's going to score 30-plus points. So laying the 4, I don't mind. I'm also going right in on the performance doubles through him. His 30-plus and win is +240 here. I love that play in this game. I think he scores 30 to 35. He might even get you a 40 ball here.
All right, Glock, what do you think about this game between the LA Clippers and a team that I'm not happy with right now, the Memphis Grizzlies?
Yeah, so I think both squads are fully healthy, and so like when you take it, not fully healthy, but priced up to where the Clippers are adjusted for life without Paul George. So with that in mind, like that's when you start to look at misprices, and like Tyler mentioned, John Morant's only 9K. This guy's been high 9Ks, 10Ks, like almost the entire season, and they've lowered him because of like his minutes limit. But at any moment that could really just reduce, and even at right now, he has a 30-minute projection for what I'm seeing. Like he still has an amazing projection. And like Tyler mentioned, point guards versus the Clippers, like anytime you're going up against Russell Westbrook on the opposite side, like that's a position, I want to, take a strong stance against. So John Morant, absolutely love him on the Memphis side. Don't think I'm going to get into anyone else really. Obviously, if I play Ja, it's with the focus that he's going to soak up all the usage and take up all the, peripheral stats so that he can hit that ceiling performance. And then, on the Clippers side, Russell Westbrook and Kawhi Leonard, I think those two are the guys that you really want to hone in on. 10K Kawhi is a little bit scary, but he's going to really have to do everything. So I don't mind him. And then the same goes for Russell Westbrook. Our guy K Fallick in the chat, I'll just give a little freebie away, but he loves Russell Westbrook tonight. Said that, Russell Westbrook was on pace to play 38 minutes, which is, it's interesting. And, that for a guy like Russell Westbrook, he may not get you 30 raw points, but, when he's out there on the floor, he's going to accumulate, maybe get you like 10, 10, and 10, in an optimal scenario, and maybe even more. So Kawhi, Russell Westbrook are interesting. And then one guy that I was kind of surprised to see his projection, Nick Batum. It was said that he's going to start going forward. I mean, obviously Nick Batum's like a absolutely gross play anytime you play him in DFS, but Tyler did say he's going to start going forward in spot of Marcus Morris. So at that 5.1K tag, with all the chalk really condensing on a guy like Jordan Nwora, Nasir Little, a guy that's like, he literally just went off last game, 42.75 fantasy points, played 31 minutes. Granted, he shot 8 for 10 from the 3. But still, I think like, he's projected for like 23 points right now. I easily think he can get over that and try to match the chalk guys in that 5K price range. So yeah, I think he's interesting. He'll definitely be in my pool at low ownership. So Nick Batum, Russ Westbrook, Kawhi Leonard, and then Ja on the Memphis side for me.
All right. Anything more from this game, Tyler?
No, that's it for me on this one.
All right. Another fantastic matchup. Thank you, Adam Silver. The Utah Jazz, who are sitting all their players, are -4. They're taking on the San Antonio Spurs, who don't even have any good players to begin with to sit, but they're sitting them anyways, right? So, I know that the NBA on NBA TV, they play some G League games, right, every once in a while. Well, you can watch a G League game here now on your league pass, right? So it just keeps getting better here. The Utah Jazz are in San Antonio. This was once a great rivalry. Now it's a pretty terrible game from a betting perspective. Glock's going to love it, though, because this is probably one of the few ones where we did get some late news, and there should be some valuable additions. But Tyler, my projections like the Jazz here, but we talked about this when we're filling out the playbook. At this point, the projections for both these teams are pretty much worthless, right? Like, what is my prior data really indicating to me? Yeah, I know Clarkson's out for the season. Sexton's out for the season. Markkanen's going to sit tonight. So I don't really feel like I'm accurately projecting what we're going to get for these games. So we got to go old school, right? Before Excel sheets began, and just try to figure out from watching these teams who's going to win. And I'll be honest, I haven't watched the Spurs this season. So I don't know what to do with this game. The Jazz are -4. They're in Texas. Your thoughts, Tyler?
Here's what we do at spread. We don't bet it. We just go right to our guy Glock in the BFS. I'll read the injury report for him because it's 3 pages long.
That's nice of you.
Team Birch is out for the Spurs. Keldon Johnson's out. Sohan's out. Vassell's out. Clarkson's out. Rudy Gay's out. Markkanen's out. Sexton's out. Off the injury report are Zach Collins, Devontae Graham, Trey Jones, Romeo Langford, Doug McDermott, Fontecchio, and Luka Samyak signed a 10-day contract with the Jazz.
Luka. All right, more Lukas in here.
Yep.
Can we go a dual Luka lineup tonight, Glock?
The double Luka stack.
I don't even see Luka Samanic projected for any minutes, so I don't think so. But who knows? Who knows? Definitely. Yeah, so like Tyler said, this freaking injury report is absolutely loaded. And with that is going to come with, quite the bit of ownership on this game, which makes sense, right? Because it's 2 crapper teams. The spread is pretty close, and it has a relatively high total. So yeah, I definitely think there's a lot of plays from this game that you could target. First, starting with the big mans on each side, right? Zach Collins is a guy that has been absolutely balling. I like him a lot, especially when Keldon Johnson and Jeremy Sohan are out. Like, that literally gives him all the boards and all the usage. And then on the opposite side, Kelly Olynyk is a guy that's going to have to do a little bit of everything because they don't have Lauri Markkanen, don't have Jordan Clarkson, and Colin Sexton. So those two bigs on each side are guys that I really like. Trey Jones is a guy that's projected for ownership, which I think I can pretty much take an underweight approach stance, I think, on him, because it doesn't feel like they want to let him absolutely go and produce. Like, it kind of feels like they think Trey Jones is a little too good for their tanking purposes. Granted, they probably already locked into where they're going to pick. So he would probably be my least favorite on the Spurs. And then you have guys like Taylor Horton-Tucker. He has been a pretty chalky play as of late, but has ran into teams where he's either gotten to foul trouble or they've been blown out. Like against Milwaukee, played only 26 minutes. Sacramento, he only played 28 minutes. And then Phoenix, where you thought that they were going to get blown up again, but they kind of kept it close. He played 35 minutes. So a guy like Taylor Horton-Tucker, definitely in play against a crappy Spurs team. And then, you mentioned some of the injuries on the Spurs side. Malachi Branham is projecting for 20% ownership. And that's just because he's 4.2K. He's cheap. He's point guard and shooting guard eligible. So I think he'll have to be in your pool. And then Devontae Graham actually got a price bump as well to only 4.4K. So I definitely think there's a lot of option in this game, fitting that mid-tier range and giving you some value that you can definitely play in this game. And I'll definitely want my exposure for sure. Just one thing to keep in mind is that just watch out for the Spurs lineup. Obviously, if you don't see Zach Collins starting, do not play him off the bench. If you see Sandro Mamukelashvili starting, you would probably consider him a lot more than Zach Collins. You just never know with Pop nowadays who they want to get a look at and who they're going to give run to. So with that in mind, just keep an eye on the starting lineup. I think obviously the Utah guys are more solid and secure in their roles. But if you do see a guy like Zach Collins starting, love him. Devontae Graham, Malachi Branham, Love them if they're starting. And then, yeah, I think you're going to want, a few pieces from this game, maybe like, a little mini stack here and there. But like I said, just don't go a little too crazy because Pop could literally just run a military rotation out there, right? Like everyone gets 25 minutes and then, just have fun, right? So
that's called a military rotation.
Yeah. Just like he likes the military stuff, 5 and 5.
Oh, that's sweet. We're learning new things. Clack's daddy, military rotations. Love having you on the show, Glock. I mean, if it wasn't for DFS, I would say they should just cancel this game. But there's going to be a lot of ownership, and I'll bet you it's going to be on playback tonight if they're bouncing back and forth, because I can imagine some of the RPS team will be invested in this game. So, Kyrie, next time you talk about gambling ruining the purity of the game, remember games like this that weren't very pure to begin with. Another fantastic matchup, Tyler. I mean, boy, talk about must-see TV. The Detroit Pistons are plus 11 in Oklahoma City, taking on the Thunder. Boy, I can't go to your kid's baseball practice tonight. You got to be home to see this fantastic matchup. Actually, the injury report on this one, Tyler, is pretty clean. No Rodney Magruder. I see Shea's questionable. Obviously, that's huge. Poku's doubtful. I mean, yeah, you got to rest after playing one game. And Lindy Waters, who sounds like an 80s hero, right? And like an old, well, you guys don't remember shows back from the 80s, but right, I could see Lindy Waters being like the lead detective on one of those shows. Tyler, we're waiting for this SGA news. Do you expect him to play? And if he does, how would you approach this game?
I do think he plays. There's performance doubles listed for him already. Okay. There's no way I'm laying this spread. I mean, didn't mean to line that up like that, but
you know what's so funny? When I made my name, right, I didn't think I was going to do this. It was just like, oh, I want to make a Twitter account and talk about gambling, right? I mean, in hindsight, naming myself Spread, even though it's a completely clever name that you guys, no one in the chat even knows what it's a play off of, but do some
Didn't
research.
One guy figure it out?
Yeah, he was my age and he had some class and understood the history of culture in America and didn't just watch Marvel movies and John Wick Part 18. But yeah, wasn't the best name for us having.
I don't think I've watched a single John Wick movie yet.
I haven't either. Are they good? Am I missing out, Glock?
I mean, I've seen the scene with Boban in the John Wick. That's I
watched that on YouTube. Yeah, I was like, I'm not watching.
Boban's in John Wick.
Yeah, he gets beat up in the library.
He's the bad guy, actually. He's one of the bad guys in John Wick, which is hilarious. But
maybe I do need to watch it.
Yeah.
All right. See, my guy knows. Fantastic. We're dancing with variants here. All right, Tyler, didn't mean to interrupt you. I have a bad habit of that. JC Zargo makes a big deal out of it.
No, you're good. I kind of lined you up for that one with the way I use the orders, but I think SGA plays. I'm not laying 11.5 with the Thunder. If I'm playing this game, give me a Josh Giddey double-double and win it plus 135. If you don't trust the Thunder to win the game, his double-double alone is plus 105. And then on the other side, give me a Wiseman double-double at plus 210. There's not a big man on the other side that's going to slow him down for the Thunder.
Dennis says, I've never seen John Wick. When would I have time to watch John Wick when the Detroit Pistons are playing the Oklahoma City Thunder? I mean, there's no way I'm missing this exciting matchup. In all seriousness, though, Glock, if SGA sits all types of value, I've been a big Wiseman guy, but you talked about those military rotations. Kind of the same thing going on there now.
Exactly.
In Detroit. So Wiseman, and they bumped his price up too, but that was a glorious 7 or 8 days where I kind of, got the flame next to his name. How do we approach this game? And if SGA plays, do we have interest in it at all?
Yeah, so I think it's pretty easy. If SGA plays, I think you can just consider him as a spend up in this game. But I really do think he's hurt, so it's definitely something I would monitor. I don't think he would have missed last night if he wasn't really hurt. Obviously, that Charlotte game is something that they would have wanted back. I was actually happy, obviously, for my Mavs that the Charlotte Hornets are out for revenge. They're trying to. I saw a tweet. It was like, how does it impact LeBron's legacy that Michael Jordan's Hornets are helping?
I saw that one too. That was fantastic.
Michael Jordan's Hornets are helping LeBron's Lakers, stay in the playoff race. So I thought that was hilarious. But I think you broke it down pretty good. I think Detroit, is just a team that I'm okay losing to, like from a DFS perspective. Like if any of their guys go off, they just have so many guys sharing minutes now. Like you mentioned, James Wiseman, Marvin Bagley, Jalen Duren, all those guys are like kind of just sharing minutes, and it's kind of playing roulette with who's going to go off. And then on the OKC side, I think it really matters of whether or not SGA is available. They did already price up Josh Giddey to 8.5K. So even if SGA were to get ruled out, like that's a decision you're gonna have to make. Like 8.5K Giddey is not, it's not too comfortable, right? Like obviously Josh Giddey has triple double upside, but it's definitely a tag where you have to think twice about it. I do think if SGA is out, my favorite play would be Jalen Williams. Like I've been really, really impressed with that guy. Smashed last night. Is going to smash again if SGA is out. 7.2K. Didn't get a price bump like Giddey did. So I think we can really hammer in Jalen Williams if SGA is out. Same as Josh Giddey. But if SGA is in, then I think he's really the only interesting play from this game that I would have, relatively moderate interest in. So pretty easy game to break down from a DFS perspective. Just SGA if in, if not, Josh Giddey, Jalen Williams, and then fade the Detroit side.
Where do you stand on the whole Paolo or Jalen Williams argument right now?
Oh, man, like
I think it's one of those. What? I think it's one of those arguments where people are just looking for something to argue about the rookies. I think Paolo is head and shoulders the best guy there, and no one can touch him.
Yeah, it's one of those things. Like from a DFS player perspective, who's like playing every day, like I never click on Paolo Banchero's name, and obviously that's not fair to him because it's a pricing thing too, right?
Yeah, that's exactly the reason. Well, if they were the same price, who would you rather have?
He's priced as a number one option because that's what he is.
Because he is. Yeah, exactly. While Jalen Williams, on the other hand, like I've been clicking his name a ton recently, and obviously that builds in your mind like, oh yeah, I freaking love Jalen Williams. I think he should be ahead. But from that lens, it's obviously Paolo for me, but Jalen Williams has been super, super impressive. He's actually a guy that when the Mavs, like in that 20 range, he was a guy that I watched a lot of tape on and a guy that I wanted the Mavericks to get. Obviously, he went way earlier than what the Mavs picked. But yeah, I mean, I think it's Paolo for sure. But Jalen Williams, I definitely think he's going to be a big piece of their future.
He's a solid player. I just don't think he's touching Paolo. Like if Paolo was in his spot right now for the Thunder are a top 6 seed in the West. Because that just gives them the extra. They'd have 3 top players right now.
For sure. I agree. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things where he's a surprise, right? Great draft pick for the value at the pick. Probably the best pick of the draft, right? It's pretty easy to knock the number 1 pick out of the park. Well, unless you're the Sacramento Kings, right? And then you pick.
Well, they almost flubbed that pick. They couldn't decide what they were doing with that for the longest time, and then they finally made the right decision.
And I think Jabari Smith will end up being a good player, but Paolo was way more NBA ready.
Yeah, and Chet's just Chet.
Well, he needs to get healthy.
I thought he was going to be good, but I know my guy Will Capper had some big concerns about his health, and those came to be true. We'll see. What do you think of this take, Glock? Duren will outscore Wiseman, one of my favorite players. I mean, he's from Orient R. You think Duren will outscore one of the 3 Wiseman tonight?
I mean, he could, but it's like Duren's going to come off the bench, and if you know me, like I'm not a guy that advocates depending on a play nuking off the bench. Obviously if you ask me a 1v1 question, I'm always going to pick the starter in most scenarios where those guys' minutes in theory should be more secure, but he definitely could. And like I said, it's definitely roulette when you're picking out of that big man group. So just a situation I would personally want to avoid.
All right, fantastic. Yeah, with Jalen Williams, we're always talking about the one that's in Rookie of the Year contention and not the other one.
Jalen, not Jalen.
Yeah, so that's what we got going on there. I can't believe we even spent that much time on this game. We are gamblers. I mean, who else? I'll take, like, for example, right? I go to UPS, throw some boxes around in the afternoon. There's nobody who's talking about the Pistons taking on the Thunder tonight. But here we are.
You're a real degenerate.
Yeah, I know. And it's I don't even want to get into it. Some of the life decisions we've made to get to the point where we just spent 15 minutes talking about the Detroit Pistons, Oklahoma City Thunder. But a game that everybody will be talking about, right? And for good reason. Two marquee franchises, right? One of them, one of the most evil franchises in the history of sports. They can't even get their name right. There's no lakes in Los Angeles, but yet the Los Angeles Lakers do exist. They're taking on the home of the greatest player of all time, Michael Jordan. They haven't been very good since him. He basically took what is historically a terrible franchise, made them relevant for 15 years. Now they're trying to cling on to relevance behind the strength of Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan, and Nikola Vukovic. But the Bulls did put a wrench, right? They were the heroes for Sunday night when they defeated the Lakers. Well, Sunday afternoon for me. Pat Bev, you talked about it earlier, talked about he circled these games. He's ready to ruin their season. He hits LeBron with the too small. I joked about not wanting to see the other games earlier, right? But actually, I mean, this one's going to be on the TV for sure. It's going to be great theater. The total's 227.5. The Bulls are +2. Tyler, can the Bulls do it again? Can they defeat the evil team that's named after a bunch of lakes in Minnesota? Not Los Angeles.
I'm going to go with no. I think
this is terrible.
They caught the Lakers in LeBron's first game back, which I think he kind of rushed himself back anyway. Played 30 minutes off the bench, and you could just tell they're trying to work things back together. D'Lo's going to probably be back for this game too. So you're going to get the whole new look Lakers that we only got for a couple games earlier in the season. Those couple games earlier in the season, they were the number 1 defensive rating. They were the number 1 net rating. They were one of the top teams in the league. Mind you, it was only for 3 games, but they looked like a stud of a team. With all those guys back on the floor, I cannot fade them until they show me wrong. So I'm on the Lakers here. It's also AD's homecoming. He's a Chicago kid. He's going to want to play good in front of all his friends and family. I love his double-double and win here at +120. And there's also a 30-plus points listed, and they win at +290. I'll be on both of those here.
Yeah, I took the AD over on his points tonight. Glock, do you have any good news for me? I'm afraid that Tyler's right. But, you know, hopefully that your breakdown, it'll be like a beautiful picture of the sky, and it'll bring me faith in humanity again. Do you think there's a chance the Bulls can do it again?
I hope they can. Obviously, for the Mavs perspective, I think me and Spread down the season, we're going to be rooting against the Lakers because the Mavs own the tiebreaker over the Lakers. So if you see the Lakers in that 10 spot and the Mavs have the same record as them, the Mavs are going to be the one in the playoffs and not the Lakers. I'll be rooting on the Bulls here. But from a DFS perspective, you know, you have guys priced up to life without LeBron, right? And so with that in mind, it's going to be really hard to pick, you know, a Laker that you really want. Obviously, if you play them, they're going to be unowned. LeBron James, 0% projected ownership. Anthony Davis, 2% projected owned. So
there's no way. How is that happening?
It's just a price thing, Spread. Like, it's a price thing. So, I mean, obviously, if you want to take a stab at it, I don't think if LeBron's coming off the bench, like, I definitely am not going to play him at 10.2K. If he starts, that makes a lot more sense. AD coming home, I didn't think about that narrative that Tyler pointed out. Very interesting for sure. Very interesting for tournaments, but I don't think I'm going to go there personally. So I don't have much interest on the Lakers side, to be honest, from a DFS perspective. And then on the Bulls side, you know, it's just a game I never really loved playing, like, you know, playing roulette with the 3-headed monster between Vucevic, LaVine, and DeRozan. But they are priced to where, you know, it will take some consideration. They do fit that mid-range build really nicely. The Lakers have been playing a lot better defense, especially Anthony Davis. So I don't think I'm going to prioritize Vucevic. So if I had to pick, I'd probably play DeMar or Zach LaVine. But yeah, I don't love this game, honestly, for a DFS perspective. Might be more of a scenario where if I build out my entire lineup with the guys I like, if I have 8.1K left in my last spot, I'll play Zach LaVine maybe, like, or DeMar DeRozan. I'd be okay with that. But I don't think I'm going to prioritize anyone from this game, honestly.
All right, we'll be on the same side. We'll be wearing our Bulls jerseys, rooting them home. Let's see what Pat Bev can do tonight.
That dog was barking and telling you guys not to bet the Bulls.
Get that too small again, Pat Bev. Let's get too small going again.
Oh my gosh.
Glock's dog was trying to tell us not to bet the Bulls.
Yeah, my dog did not agree.
Tyler hates my projections. I don't know if you've looked at the playbook yet, but that's one of my biggest edges on the board there tonight. So
I just hate doing Laker games with you because the bias instantly kicks in.
We went straight off the projections, and I don't like fun.
And you snap bet it.
I actually haven't yet.
You were like, "We're doing this." I was like, "I don't know." You're like, "I don't care. We're doing this." Like, okay.
All right, we can change it after the show. Oh my gosh, that dog has more bite than Pat Bev. Any love in Austin Reeves there? He'd be a good fit on the Mavericks.
Oh God, not with LeBron back. I don't want to play 7.1K Austin Reeves. No, thank you.
All right, you get the answers here, Clyde. Right? You're not just naming off every player and saying you should have interest in them all. Right? Taking a stand. Another team. Wait a second. You're telling me the date is March 29th, and the Sacramento Kings are the biggest favorite on the board, Tyler? What is going on? The Kings must be great. Oh, wait. The Portland Trailblazers are absolutely terrible. They've completely given up. They've taken tanking to a whole new level. I mean, they're sitting everybody. Unbelievable. Can you imagine being a Blazers season ticket holder and looking at the lineup they're running out tonight? Tyler, the Kings are laying 14 against the G League team. How do we do this?
You just lay it. You just lay the points here. Portland's in that spot where they're not trying to win games. The guys they're sending out are just absolute cheeks. All their main guys were rolled out. Lillard, Simons, Nurkic, Grant, Reddish, and Watford are also doubtful. So it's like your best player out there is going to be Nasir Little.
Shaden Sharp, bro.
Yeah, Shaden Sharp, who he has great DFS games, but this is also a 21-year-old kid we're talking about. At any moment, this kid could go out there and go like 0 for 12 from the field and just score like 6 points in the game.
Oh, the Mikey line.
Like last game?
Yeah. So see, exactly like he did last game. The thing's going to happen with these young kids like that. He's not going to be consistent. In Sacramento, even though they don't play much defense, there isn't much offense on the other side they have to worry about. They're going to run a tempo up and down the floor against this Blazers team that they're not going to be able to stop. Fox is going to get anything he wants at the rim. Sabonis probably triple doubles here. I'll be on that again, the triple double and win it like 4-1. And I'll be on the Fox 30 plus and win. And these guards are just going to light him up from three. Herter, Keegan Murray. I'll stay away from Barnes because he's been very hit or miss. But I do love the Kings here minus the 14. They win this game by 20.
Glock, take your time here. We're not in a hurry. Tell me about the greatness of the Sacramento Kings.
Well, for defense,
all your value just opened up.
Yeah, we did literally just get all that news, which we'll break down after this, I think, if you want. But basically, if you think this game blows out, obviously it's pretty always easy from the Sacramento side, from a DFS perspective, who to target. It's De'Aaron Fox or Domantas Sabonis for me. If you think the game stays close, both of those guys are projected under 10% owned right now. So, one thing we always talk about at RPS is correlating with the chalk. And you literally have all these chalk options on Portland with Keon Johnson, 50% owned, Nasir Little, 50% owned, Drew Eubanks, 25% owned, Kevin Knox off the bench, 50% owned. So it's like all those guys are going to be getting jammed into your lineups already. So correlating them with a guy like De'Aaron Fox or Domantas Sabonis is interesting. But that's only if you think the game stays close. Obviously, Sacramento could have clinched a playoff berth last game. You have to think they're going to go all out for it tonight. They're going to be locked in. I do agree with you guys. I do see a blowout here. So because of that, I don't think I'm going to really prioritize De'Aaron Fox or Sabonis, but I do think they're interesting in tournaments. I think that's on the opposite side. That's really where you're going to focus, the Portland side, right? Because they are full tanking mode. They are in full evaluation mode. So guys like Shaden Sharp is going to get blowout run no matter what the script is. It actually feels like he's the most safe out of all the guys, because last slate I played Nasir Little and his minutes got cut. He didn't even play the blowout. It was Shaden Sharp, Keon Johnson who were in. So those two guys would be my favorite from the Portland side if I had to pick, just because they're script proof, it feels like. And then followed by Nasir Little, Drew Eubanks in a close game script. And then, I don't love guys like Kevin Knox or Matisse Thybulle, but they're going to have to be in your pool tonight just because how shorthanded Portland is. But yeah, this is definitely your value spot of the night for sure. Not speaking of what news just dropped, but you're going to have exposure to this game, multiple pieces for sure. And yeah, you can't really go wrong with any of them, to be honest. Keon Johnson, Jabroni Clyde, not Keyshawn.
Oh, yeah. Former New York Jets, a great receiver, also author of New York Times bestseller, Just Give Me the Damn Ball, Keyshawn Johnson. Glock, do you think the fact that we're ending a 16-year playoff drought makes Mike Brown less hesitant to pull people there with a huge lead tonight?
I
mean, just because it is clinching night, I mean...
They're going to clinch it, and then he's going to call a timeout, pull his guys, and so they all get the standing ovation, right? Is what I would
No, we're in Portland.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think
it makes it easier on those guys to just clinch his spot, not at home, no pressure from the fans.
If we're up by 20, 9 minutes to go, is he pulling these guys?
I think so. Okay. I think so. Can't risk injury. It's a great moment, but you can't
losing to the Blazers.
Yeah, I mean, but it's like the Blazers are like going to be full on punt mode, so.
Yeah.
You guys want to hear something funny?
Yeah.
Quote from Twitter. Bill Simmons on his most recent podcast said he thinks Draymond Green is plotting to team up with Kyrie Irving and Luka Doncic and LeBron James in Dallas. Don't ask me how LeBron is getting factored into this, but
bro, this is Bill
injected
Simmons,
into my
bro.
veins, Tyler. Injected into my veins, baby. Let's go.
I will say
you already made me listen to that terrible Bill Simmons podcast. You got to be kidding me. I'm following that guy right now.
Yeah, I'll find it and send it to you, Glock.
That's insane, if true. I mean, Bill Simmons is kind of a quack, but yeah, that's pretty.
Sometimes, though, when you hear him talk, because he does have all the insiders, like he'll say it, he'll be like, I've heard
Block
it through the grapevine.
Yeah, these are my hands. Not yet.
This is the worst take I've seen. Clyde,
that would be devastating.
There's no way.
That would what would
They'd have to lose out.
If they just lost out.
What would I do?
Yeah.
Throw my cat up here and you do an NBA rundown with a cat?
Yeah, the schedule's soft for the Kings. There's no way.
Yeah, there's no way. All right. Terrible take, Clyde. Let's move on. What's the news that just happened, Glock, and how are you adjusting your approach to tonight's slate now?
Yeah, so Memphis put some players in doubtful. Desmond Bane, doubtful. Jaren Jackson, doubtful. Tyus Jones, doubtful. Ja Morant's not on the injury report, so he's good to go. But yeah, like Desmond Bane, Jaren Jackson missing. That would open up a lot of value, actually. So a guy like, Xavier Tillman, never a sexy click, but he's going to have more minutes to play. Santi Aldama, 4K.
Series of tags too, Glock.
What's up?
He caught a Q tag and all that too, so he's another guy to watch out for.
Oh, I don't see. Oh, okay, yeah. So yeah, that's definitely Memphis is definitely something to monitor, and they are a 7 p.m. Central game, so it is a little bit later. You're going to have a lot of games that lock beforehand, so that's something to keep in mind. But I think the main, let's see, Luke Kennard. Oh man, wow, they already priced him up 5.4K. He's been playing amazing off the bench for Memphis. I kind of like him if he gets to start. Santi Aldama, 4K is another source of value. You'd think he starts for Jaren Jackson, so you're going to have some more value now, which, may bring in more opportunities to, stack up studs like the Joel Embiid and Luka, or even play like an Anthony Davis, without even having to worry about it. So, yeah, basically the Memphis guys, you're going to have some value now that Jaren Jackson and Desmond Bane are doubtful. So that's kind of what I just wanted to hit on.
Now that it's more realistic to get there, who's your favorite spend up of the night?
Man, probably Ja, if you count him. I mean, he's only 9K, but Tyus Jones, doubtful. Like Ja could really get loose here. Really find his rhythm without Desmond Bane, without Jaren Jackson. I kind of like Ja here for sure.
All right. And that's not he's being objective here, right? He's not saying that just because him and Ja went to strip clubs last time the Grizzlies were in Dallas. The last game of the night.
I'm actually a big Ja hater. Like, if you know me, I'm a huge Ja hater.
Why?
And I've always, like, it's kind of my bit, but it's like better without Ja. When Tyus is in there, like the Memphis Grizzlies just always look so good, and I just think he's like a real true point guard. Ja's good, don't get me wrong, but he's kind of like, I don't know, I might get flamed for this, but he's kind of like Russell Westbrook, where obviously his dunks are amazing, but like, he's worked on his outside shot. He's looked a little bit better as of late, but I just think he's really held in high regard because of how well he can dunk. Let's just.
I 100% agree with that statement, because in 5 to 6 years, when the kid's knees are gone and he can't do this anymore, we're gonna be doing the same thing we're doing to Russ now, slandering the hell out of him. Why is he getting paid this much money? He can't do anything. He's making the team worse. He can't shoot. It's all gonna fall right into place.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it's his dunk and his social media presence is very, very good. But
if you go back and watch the early Russ highlights, it's legit the same guy. Like he's just flying over guys, and it's like, whoa, like the athleticism.
Well, Russ might have been better.
Oh, I'm not arguing that. He might have been.
No, I'm just saying prime Russ is better than anything we've seen from Morant so far.
I'm not going to argue that.
Better passer, better rebounder, more tenacious.
Even that year, he averaged a triple-double the first time. Job.
I mean,
that year he averaged a triple-double the first time. I know he was just kind of stat padding towards the end, but like when that mid-range shot was
really only stat padding defensive rebounds, and the only reason it was obvious because your favorite guy Carmelo would box everyone out. And
he wasn't on that team.
That wasn't the year Carmelo was doing it?
Not the first time he averaged a triple-double.
Okay.
I'm talking about right after Durant left. When that mid-range shot was falling and he would come at you full speed, there was nothing you could do. Because it's like, you step up to block the jumper and he goes right past you. Do you give him the jumper? He knocks it down. Yeah. So, yeah, I agree. I think Prime Russell's a lot better than anything Morant showed us.
Yeah, we'll see. Of course, Morant still has that opportunity to continue to improve, and it's not, he's so talented. Wouldn't be surprised if he continued to develop his game. But Glock coming with the hot takes, guys. If you appreciate that, hit the thumbs up.
I already know where Glock stands on my SGA John Morant argument. He's definitely going to be.
Yeah, he already does. We already know that. We got to give him a tougher one. All right, but we'll figure that one out. Think of a tougher one for Glock. We already know the answer to that.
We'll throw in the trick question: who's the better player, Maxey or Quickly?
That one's so hard. That's like the hardest question we ask.
It's a trick question because they're the same exact player.
They really are.
They do the same thing.
Maxey played high school basketball like 15 minutes away from me, so I'll take the hometown boy, Maxey.
Love it.
I do like them both for sure.
All right. Minnesota Timberwolves try to continue their winning road trip. They crushed the Dreams. They crushed the Beam on Monday night, and that was coming off a win over the Golden State Warriors, right? So they're just smashing through NorCal, right? They're blazing us up like some good outdoor weed, but now they're down in Phoenix. They're taking on the Suns. And, of course, Tyler, this game is going to make headlines, going to get a lot of attention because as of right now, we assume that it's the return of Kevin Durant. Hopefully, he can avoid the dangerous layup line and make it into the starting lineup tonight. What do you think, Tyler? Will the Slim Reaper make his debut? And how do you feel about the Suns laying 4.5 to the Timberwolves tonight?
Yeah, I think he's going to make his return here. This team, when he was in the lineup, they were unstoppable. Like, they couldn't be stopped. With him back, I don't know how the Timberwolves cover them.
Nobody can cover them.
Yeah, even if Cat plays, I'm not all that worried about it because just the way Phoenix plays, too. They're going to pick and roll those two bigs to death. They're going to put them out on islands. They're just a terrible matchup for Minnesota. I am all over Phoenix right here, -5. Until Phoenix with Durant in the lineup shows me that they're going to lose games, I'll be all over them in this spot. I think they win it by double digits. I think Durant goes for 30, even if he's in a minutes limit, and I think Booker has a decent game too.
Booker's huge with Durant in there because now he's getting less attention.
He's getting so much less attention.
He loves it. Right. He loves it. That little front runner.
Who is?
Devin Booker.
Oh yeah, he's a Dallas guy. He's gotta hate.
Dude, I'm loving this slant. Dude, we're getting a great performance from Glaucoma today, right? I mean, it's just like, one door closes and another one opens. How do you view tonight's game here, Glock? And do you agree with Tyler, or are you gonna go against the front runner and your hated Phoenix Suns?
No, yeah. I mean, I think from a DFS perspective, this game is pretty easy to break down. Don't have much interest in it, obviously, for the most part, just because Minnesota's integrating Karl Anthony Towns back in the mix. Their prices are still adjusting for life with him. Like Edwards is still 9.1K. Cat's a guy that's going to take away usage, obviously. So don't really love anyone from the Minnesota side. And then, on the Phoenix side, assuming Kevin Durant is in, they're also priced out for without life without KD. So you got Devin Booker's basically 10K, Chris Paul 7.3K. All these guys are priced out for life without KD. So adding a guy like him back into the mix is just going to take away from, the DFS attractiveness. So pretty easy game to break down. I mean, this one should be fun to watch for sure. I'm going to be rooting on the Suns here, even though I hate them, to beat the Timberwolves, to notch them down in the standings. But from a DFS perspective, likely no interest here. Like you said, Devin Booker is interesting. Like he was crushing with KD in the mix. Like, so, at 1% ownership, maybe if he's like a lasting guy, he's interesting. But I don't love this game from a DFS perspective, just because of the pricing and, how they're integrating, each side is integrating a star back into the mix.
We've had a fantastic show today, Tyler. Glaucoma came. He brought the fire. And Mikey wasn't in the chat. I mean, things are looking up for the Run Pure team. I mean, how much better can the show get today? And in fact, all the chatters brought it today. We had a lot of fun, going along with you guys, but we're not done yet. But hey, give us that thumbs up button. Make sure you hit that like. We're here Monday through Friday, giving you the winners, and we bring in the heavy hitters, right? You thought the Wednesday show was going to decline in quality, but I mean, there's an argument that it got even better.
An hour and a half. Let's go.
Yeah, Tyler, let's start with you. What's the best bet for today? Side, total, or prop?
I'm staying in that last game. Give me Phoenix -5. I think they smash. And then a fun little parlay I like for tonight, a little 3-team money line. It gets you 3-1.
Did we get enough likes for this?
Yeah, we did. We got 92 people watching. We're at about 45. So I'll take that. We'll give it to the people today.
Right.
The 3-team parlay, all money lines. Give me 76ers. Give me Suns. Give me Lakers. Get you +300.
Say that one more time. I was interrupting you like a jerk.
It's the Suns, the 76ers, and the Lakers. Money line gets you +300.
I should have interrupted you. That's terrible.
You just want to fade the Lakers.
Of course I do.
Your bias is showing.
Yeah. It's called having an opinion. Glock, best bet for today, side, total, or prop?
So Tyler mentions bias. Let me go anti-bias and go Philadelphia -4 as my best bet.
Wow.
It makes the parlay even better because it's one of Glock's best bets, and we take the money line there, so we lay off the 4 too. So come on, spread. Make that last one your best bet.
Yeah, I'm not going to let an Indiana Pacers win bring my hopes up. I think the Mavs go back to earth, get embarrassed on ESPN tonight. And yeah, it's going to be sad for me, but it's all about the money. It's all about the money out here. So that's my best bet for the day.
All right, Tyler. So would you want me to take the Phoenix Suns? Sure, I'll take the Phoenix Suns.
I already took Phoenix. You got to take the last little.
No, you take that terrible team. I don't want that blood on my hands.
That good. What are you rolling with today?
I mean, the biggest edge on the board was the Bulls for me when we did the numbers. We'll talk about it after the show. No, but I do like Phoenix tonight. I mean, they've been so good with KD in the lineup. He basically covers up all the flaws in that roster with his ability to be a great forward. Robert's going against us. So we'll have fun victory lapping that one tomorrow. And of course, short slate tomorrow, but we'll have a fun show. Regardless, we'll have Kurt and Meg. What a fantastic combination. But yeah, no, I'm going to take the Suns. Tyler, I can't join you in taking the Lakers there. And we'll talk about that a little bit as we do the playbook to finish this up after the show. But Glock, we're not done with you yet. Usually, our esteemed guest, they give words of wisdom to end the show. They send the people out, get them that good mojo on their way out, and oftentimes they learn a thing or two. So I know I caught you off guard here, but words of wisdom for the people before we sign off.
Words of wisdom. Obviously we have the season, wrapping up here shortly. Just stay tuned into the news, guys. If you haven't already, that'd be my words of wisdom. Stay locked into the news as we wrap up the season. Obviously, if you have a membership here at RPS, we're going to help you break down all these news and all this speculation going down to the wire. up until lock and through lock. So sign up. We're going to help you bring in the winners from the DFS side and the bet side. You know, there's a lot of uncertainty anytime you have these tanking teams. You don't know what's going to happen, but you know, we're paid to break these things down, and we do our best to, you know, make it simple for you guys so that you know who to target from each game. So yeah, I think historically RPS has been really, really good ending the season as well as into the showdown formats, you know, in the playoffs. So if you haven't already, go ahead and sign up using our promo codes, Glock15, Spread 15, Tyler 15. And yeah, I'm just looking forward to ending the season, and the playoffs should be really fun.